Hello and welcome to our 2025 Canadian Project Highlights. This is our little end of the year event to show everybody what we've gotten up to this year in Canada. I'm Johnny Rezvani. I'm the Director of Communications for 475 High Performance Building Supply. This is a bit of what we offer or are offering soon. Brink is relatively new to Canada, now stocking. GHT, the preconditioning unit, new this year, that connects to the Brink. And then coming this year, came already to the United States, coming to Canada, the Smart Rock vapor control and insulation layer combined. So really great to be able to provide all these products. But the reason, one of our really big reasons for being is always, the interactions we have, the people we meet, the projects we come in contact with. So we are always thinking about those first. And so it's great to just be able to talk about some of the ones that were the highlights and a very crazy year politically. We are so excited to be a company that works across borders and really connects with people across the continent. So it's been a great year. So we want to pass it off to my partner in crime in marketing, Rachel.
Yeah, hi, I'm Rachel. I work in marketing with Johnny. So this year we introduced this new presentation format here at 475 called Building Blocks. Last year, many of you joined us for our weekly Thursday office hours, which were helpful, but we really saw an opportunity to make them even more focused and valuable. So we reimagined the format and launched this monthly series built around our most popular blogs and videos and concepts. So each month, Building Blocks gives us a chance to take one important topic and dig into it with a short presentation, followed by an open floor discussion where you can bring your questions or your design challenges or any issues you're facing on your projects. And when we first came up with this idea, we honestly weren't sure how it would go, but we've now had 9 presentations this year, and the turnout and engagement have been better than we ever expected. It's been amazing to see how many of you show up and participate and just help shape the conversation. So, as we look ahead to next year, we want your input. So, please comment below with any topics you'd like us to cover in 2026. Your feedback is super helpful and ensures that these sessions continue to meet your needs. So thank you so much for being here today and throughout the year. We really do appreciate this community. So let's dive into the 2025 project highlights.
Thank you very much. And first up, we're going to have our newest member of the 475 Canada team, Finley Butler, who, and in each of these intros, we're going to show the map of the areas that they cover. And since anybody calling in could talk to Finley, we've highlighted every province. But Finley, you can take it away.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Johnny. Yeah, so as Johnny said, my name is Finley Butler. I'm the customer service representative for Canada, and I'm located in Toronto, Ontario. So today I'm going to be talking about 2 projects that really stood out to me throughout my time that I've been with 475. So to start off with the first project, sorry, just this is a prefabrication build up in Gravenhurst, Ontario. So I chose to talk about this project because I am a big supporter and firm believer that prefab building is going to be the future of our building in Canada. It's becoming a lot more and more popular, and we are seeing it become a lot more successful as the years and months are starting to grow. So this was a project I was actually able to visit on site. So it was my first on-site experience with prefab building. So that was really great to see. So I'm just going to talk about that quickly. So something that makes prefab really, really successful is the efficiency that it is installed at. So For example, this project I'll be highlighting, they installed all the panels in about 2.5 days. So to achieve something like this, we have to be going all the way back to before we're even starting to build the panels in shop or anything. So we have to be doing something called an integrated design phase. So we'll have the general contractor, above board carpentry, the panel manufacturer, Simple Life Homes, and the architect, Stone's Throw Design. We're all talking before the project has even started. We're talking about everything from logistics, getting the panels on site, to building the panels in shop, installing the panels on site as well, kind of talking about anything that could happen and just planning ahead for the whole project to make sure it can go efficiently as possible. So here are a few pictures of the install that are pretty cool. So they have a huge crane on site and they're craning in all these huge panels. So floor systems, wall systems, and roof systems as well. So here's a couple other great photos. And then the main aspect of this project that really stood out to me is that they did an open house last November for an event called Boots on the Ground, where they opened the site up to the public and they gave a huge site tour. So they had employees from Simple Life Homes, Above Board Carpentry, and Stone's Throw Design all there, giving us a site tour, kind of talking us through and walking us through what went really well for them for this build, what made it really successful, some things that they would want to carry on to their next prefab build, and some things that they would maybe change differently for the next time they do a prefab build together. So yeah, overall a great project, and I'm super excited to see what they have in store for the future. So the second project I'm going to be talking about is a project that's pretty special to me. It's a project by Greening Homes and again Stone's Throw Design. So this project is really important to me because it was my first ever experience to high performance ever. So I actually visited this site before I was even working with 475 about a year ago. So I was at George Brown College in Toronto in the building renovations program, and we were talking about all these great materials like monolithic membranes, smart vapor control retarders, high performance tapes, all these great products. But we were talking about them in a classroom setting. So it was great. Like we kind of knew about them, but we didn't really know what it looked like on site. We just knew from photos. So Greening Homes actually opened their doors to us. They shut down work for a day during the week and let 35 students come into their job site, gave us a huge site tour, and just showed us what high performance looks like on a project. So just a little reference, a before and after photo. So the clients have actually moved in as of last month. So that's great. So this is the before. It's a single-story bungalow. And this is it now. Super beautiful build, 3-story multi-generational family home. And so a little bit about the deep energy retrofit. So as I said, it was a 1949 post-World War II bungalow with about 1,300 square feet of living space, and they turn it into a multi-generational home with around 3,500 square feet of living space. A little bit on the metric side, it scored a 0.94 on the ACH blower door test, and their target was 1.5, so they actually exceeded their target. And the EnerGuide rating went from 104 down to 17 post-renovation. So to put that in perspective, the house got larger and they're actually like using less money to heat the house overall, which is great. And then it is also a net zero ready build. So a bit back to me being on site as a student, it was great to see high performance tapes being installed with high performance windows as well. So seeing how we're taping to achieve airtightness and efficiency, and just seeing all these continuity details and sequencing details actually be put to use on site. We're not just talking about it in class. And then, of course, the build was also a full Proclima, which is really great to see. So it had Mento 1000 as the main WRB on the exterior, IntelliPlus as the vapor control layer on the interior, and Mento 3000 Connect on the roof as the roof underlayment. So we'll get into a bit more photos here. So here's that IntelliPlus on the interior. You can see it's a great install. They're taping all the seams. They're sealing to the floor with Contiga HF, taping all the exterior penetrations and outlets. And on top of all of this, it's a very well insulated build as well. So all exterior walls, including the basement, range from around R35 to R37, and they're using low embodied carbon insulation materials as well. So in the basement, they've used wet packed cellulose, and all above grade walls, they've used dense packed cellulose, and they had a cathedral ceiling, and that was around R51 for their cathedral ceiling. And then you can see here, they've got that Gutex wood fiberboard insulation on the exterior for the exterior walls, and that's contributing to continuous insulation on the exterior to limit thermal bridging. And then, as I said before, they use Mento 3000 Connect on the roof. So this is a great product because it's monolithic, so you can't actually do this with most products on the market. So that's how they're achieving their roof venting here. So some great photos here with the team working on it. And then something that I really like about Greening Homes too is that they're very community driven. So this is actually me a couple months ago when I started working for 475. I kind of kept that connection and they threw something called a plaster party for the client. So everyone in the Greening Homes community, so all the Greening Homes friends, families, current clients, even past clients, and just other builders all showed up on a Saturday and we all dedicated our whole day to apply this clay plaster on the walls. It was a super fun day. It was my first time working with this material. Definitely a bit tricky to work with, a very wet mix compared to traditional drywall mud. But it was great to kind of work around with everyone, spill some mud on the floor, as you can see here. They had a live band playing. It was just like all around vibes are great. Food there, drinks there for everyone. So yeah, definitely a party for sure. But yeah, just speaks to the volume about the company that Greening Homes is. Here's a couple more photos during our lunch break. And then we have the bins of plaster and just scooping it onto your trowels and all that. And then I had to add some finished photos as well so you guys could see what it looks like. And yeah, that's it for me. So yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
All right, great. And next up, we're gonna have Chris Lee, part of the Brink team covering Ontario, based in New York, though. So welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Johnny. As Johnny mentioned, my name is Christopher Lee. I cover the Ontario region with our brake flare, mechanical ventilation, ERVs, and HRVs. I've actually gotten the opportunity to visit Canada this year, which was really an incredible experience. And it actually segues perfectly into the first project that I want to talk about. But before that, I'd love to mention that we are now fully stocked in Toronto at our Markham warehouse. We've got four different sizes available over there. We've got 225s, 325s, 400s, and 600s. Those are meters cubed per hour. Essentially, depending on the square footage of your home, one of those is going to work better than the other. And we're also happy to offer full kitted systems in Canada as well now. This was not the case earlier in the year, and we're super duper excited about this because it's going to make a lot of projects a lot more feasible with regards to lead time. It's going to make shipping a lot easier. So do get in touch if you have any projects that you're working on. And if you did inquire in the past about a Brink Flare and you are in Canada, I would say to reach out again because we're really happy to be able to have a lot better logistics in terms of shipping. So moving forward, we are also stocked at Performance House now, which we're super duper excited about. They're in Edmonton, Alberta. Please get in touch with them if you are looking for anything Brink. They are wonderful folks. And we're super duper excited to be working with them going forward. So the first project I want to talk about is the Harwood Passive House, built by Jesse Harwood of Harwood Engineering. This one was really special because I got to actually meet Jesse when I went over to Boots on the Ground in Muskoka this year. And that's not something I typically get to do. I work on a lot of different projects, and it's, at times stuff gets a little bit busy and it can be very, very hard to just kind of sit down and have a conversation. So I got to actually hang out with Jesse earlier in the year, and his passion for building and for engineering was just super duper awesome to see. And this project was very special to me because of that. With regard to what this project was, it's a family home. It's a house, and I think that's part of what makes it special. As much as we're all talking about houses here, this is a house that kids are going to live in, and that people are really looking to thrive in, which is why we're so happy to be able to bring flair inside this space to be able to, ensure that they're having some fresh air inside of the space. The square footage of this home was 2,244, which was perfect for our Blink Flare 325 ERV. We used our semi-rigid ducting, which is 3-inch outer diameter. This was a home run system, so this system is separate from the rest of the mechanicals, which is very, very helpful for folks who don't want to have those two systems tied together. There's a lot of benefits to, ensuring that you don't have to have both of them on at the same time, essentially. With regards to ACH, they're around 0.27, which means roughly every 3 hours or so, you're going to have brand new air inside of this space. But big shout out to Jesse. He may be in attendance, but if not, I'm sure he'll check out the recording. And I just wanted to say thank you to him for giving me his time and hanging out with me when I went up to Canada. So the next project I want to talk about is a little bit different. This one was a duplex in Vancouver, done by Misa Architects. We've got a rendering over here on the left side. The installer was Perfect Air Solutions. And this one was really cool because it was a duplex. So essentially, it was kind of a mirror. We sort of were doing two projects at once while only working on the design for one, which was a great example of how when the situation is just right, we're able to get a lot done with just one design. So this duplex essentially has two units that are in essence almost identical to one another. So what that allowed us to do was do ventilation schemes that were quite close to one another. So very, very helpful for any kind of projects that are looking to, kind of standardize things and do things in a very repeatable kind of way. Again, this one was 2653 total. We've got some more pictures over here on the left. This one utilized two Brig Flare 325 HRVs, which is really cool. It means that each person, or rather each of the tenants inside of this duplex is going to have control over each one of these units, which is great. That means that they'll be able to boost and control each one of them separately. They utilize our semi-rigid ducting. These are two separate home run systems, so they're again not tied to the mechanicals, and they hit a very healthy 0.44 ACH, which means roughly almost every 2 hours or so they're going to have a complete change in the air. So they're going to have a really good time inside the space. Moving over to some of our other projects that we worked on this year. I believe this is one that my colleague Gabby worked on. This is a large deep energy retrofit. This is a beautiful home. Just looking at it, it looks like super duper futuristic and awesome. And we were lucky enough to be able to get the opportunity to work with them on this. This one's using a Flare 325 ERV. And we've got one other project that we wanted to mention, which was Toronto Senior Housing. And this one was really, really special for a number of reasons. But the main reason being, other than the fact that we're really happy to be able to provide fresh air to senior citizens, is that this one used 17 Flare 325 ERVs in it. This is a workshop architect project. And, it really speaks to the feasibility of using these units in large scale multifamily, multi-unit projects like this. So we really wanted to make sure to mention this one because, again, going back to what I said before about standardization, having a set plan for something with regard to how we're doing the ventilation scheme, really allows for repeatability, and doing 17 units inside one space it really speaks to the ability for this unit to be used in this kind of context. So we're really, really happy about this project. Move over now to Brendan David, who will speak to you next. Thank you for having me, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Chris. I take it from here, Johnny.
Yeah, take it away.
So I'm Brendan David. I'm the product consultant for Western Canada, all the kind of blue you see on the map there. Thanks a lot for joining us. Frankly, this one's quite a tough ask, this building blocks. 475, in my region included, we just have so many exciting and innovative projects. So yeah, please check out our Instagram, our blog, because what you're seeing today is really just a tiny cross-section of some of the stuff we get to see and do. So I kind of want to start here. New meets old. This project is in Vancouver. It's called 837 Beatty Street. I chose this project against this blend of new and old, including new products from 475 in 2025. So the bottom of the building is an existing portion with a turn of the century nail laminated timber floors, and that's going to be completely retrofitted. Or has been, as you can see on the right there at projects in progress. And then additional nail laminated mass timber floors are being added above. Metro Construction is the GC, and the architect was McFarlane Bigger with Vass and Epp doing the structural engineering work. So yeah, first off, after that existing, roof was removed on the original assembly, it needed to be protected. So that work was done with the Hero Visto, and that was done on site. And then for the new sections, mass timber was supplied by Kinsall, who are on Vancouver Island, and they at their factory they completed installation of the Hero Visto membrane there, so that from the factory to installed be protected. And then you see the large sections of Tescon Vana that were used to protect all the seams.
And shout out to Sean Thainamore for those photos, by the way.
Yeah. So the next one I want to highlight is a missing middle type project. It's a net zero row house built in Calgary, Alberta. It's an eightplex, so you kind of see 4 units, and then they also have some 4 ground units that go down. It's very topical, right? We're in a housing crisis, and these missing middle infill type builds are being looked at as part of the solution. In fact, the federal government recently released the Housing Design Catalog, which offers some similar designs. So keep an eye on our building block series because we do hope to dig into that catalog from a performance perspective in the new year. But this one's kind of a good precursor. So the exterior featured Adhero 3000, which is our self-adhered membrane, and then Intello X is installed on the interior, providing the air barrier and smart vapor control. On the left, you can just see the exterior insulation being installed. This required a lot of fasteners, so that was part of the reasoning to go with the Adhero, as it's self-sealing around those small penetrations like nails and screws. And of course, that also helped with the overall airtightness because they were going for a certification on this project, and so we needed a nice and tight building envelope. So I was going to highlight some challenges as well. Before even building, there's a lot of discussion with the developer, like, where's the incentives for building like this? Why would someone do this versus the code minimums? And I think that's a conversation that, as an industry, we need to be kind of pushing back on some of our or working with our local municipalities to say like, hey, we want to see that performance is included as well, not just, quantity as we make this push. But yeah, on the building side of things, these projects are meshing sort of that get in, get out style of residential construction and sequencing everyone's used to, which then can sometimes butt heads with, best practice high performance sequencing. So I was on site a lot to try and establish, some of the workarounds. A great example that can be difficult is that concrete mid wall there that's there for fire separation. And then on the right-hand side, you can see a lot of Tescon Vana tape, which is great, but there was a lot of connections and probably more connections than what we were used to, but that's just based on that really compact geometry. So I think there's some, definitely room for improvement to see widespread adoption and improved performance. But yeah, a project like this was a really great learning example for me. But again, they were able to hit that net zero mark, really good airtightness scores, and very high comfort. And project demonstrates that it can be done. It's not rocket science. And again, we need to make sure that quality doesn't get forgotten about as we make this huge push for more quantity of homes across the country. So I'm very fortunate to work with a number of awesome prefab partners based in my region. Yeah, they all have their own niche, whether it's custom design capabilities, in-house installation experience, or emerging materials. You have Collective Carpentry in Vermeer, PC Passive House in Pemberton, Tag Panels Squamish, Savick, who's in Leduc County, Alberta. Kolesnikov is another one. They're in Castlegar, BC. They do mass timber. Since they have a new division, that's one I thought I would highlight this year because, yeah, they have a volumetric prefabricated line. So this project is the one I'm going to highlight is in Big Sky, Montana, which, you might say, well, why am I doing that? It's, I'm the cover Western Canada, and I thought that this was really great because it tells a really good behind the scenes story of 475. The architect ID Cubed is based in the Northeast United States, and our team works with them closely there. I've worked with Kolesnikov Mass Timber based in Castlegar, BC, on a few projects prior, including their own facility expansion, where they used some of our products, including the Mento 1000. So what you're seeing in the image here is our their modules. So they come complete with mechanical, electrical, etc. And then, yeah, of course, where it was actually going in Montana, my team members were ready in Colorado, so that they could provide site support or additional materials. Yeah, again, these are some more of the completed images are in process of what those modules stacked actually ended up looking like in the end. So yeah, I think in total it was 120 modules that were assembled within a very short time period to provide workforce housing. And from there, I guess I will pass it on to my colleague, Jeremy.
Yeah, speaking of Montana, Jeremy spent a little time living there, which maybe you can speak to a little bit. But so Jeremy is our head of the daylight team and works all across Canada, right, Jeremy? I think you do. I'll pass
Yeah,
it
that's
off to
correct.
you.
Not yet, as shown here in our graphic, I am the Daylight Team Manager, representing our Daylight products both in the US and Canada. By Daylight products, I mean our Skylight products. We partner with two Skylight manufacturers, Vacro out of Poland and Lamlux out of Germany. Going to talk a little bit about Lamlux specifically today. Um, Thanks for the segue as well, Johnny. I did spend about a year living in Bozeman, Montana. It's not too far from Big Sky, so definitely a special place in my heart. Great to see some sustainable construction going on in that part of the world. In addition to myself, the Daylight team is manned by, or womaned by Delia Murphy and Stephen Dahlgren. So if you get in touch with us about your Skylight needs, questions, pricing, etc., you'll be speaking with one of us, and we're happy to help make sure you get the right solution for your project and that's integrated to ensure the highest possible performance. So yeah, the project I want to talk about today is the Beringia Interpretive Center, located in downtown Whitehorse in the Yukon. This originally was the Yukon Visitor Center. It's now a bit of a museum, providing Yukon visitors with windows into the Yukon's pasts, featuring Ice Age animals, First Nations, as well as scientific history of the region. That term Beringia, or that name Beringia, comes from the name given to the subcontinent that once spanned from the Yukon to Siberia. So it's sort of a historic look into the natural history of that region. We had the chance to work on this project to supply a Lamlux FE circular skylight, which we'll talk a little bit about in the next slide, along with Johnson Builders and the architect as well. So the FE Circular, as you can see it here, was a really great choice for this application. We found in general that these skylights are a really great fit for not only museums, also projects like zoos and aquariums, luxury retail, or even more modern or creative custom residential projects. A few things I think make this a really good fit for a museum in particular. One, the high performance glazing that all laminate skylights include features low iron content, which means that it's highly transparent. We get really high quality light, really excellent illumination, which really clarifies the colors of an interior accurately and allows us to really perceive the full spectrum of natural light. So when we are displaying art or exhibits, that light really allows us to see the thing that we're perceiving as was intended to be perceived. In addition, this glass has a low emissivity coating, so it blocks a lot of UV, which is great to ensure the preservation of the interior elements of this museum. By just filtering some of the solar radiation, we can ensure that it won't degrade the interior finishes and any artwork or exhibits that are featured at the interior. Because obviously the climate is quite difficult in the Yukon, cold and snowy, the thermal protection that the FE Circular provides is also highly favorable. The skylight features triple layer insulated glazing, as well as a continuously insulated, thermally broken aluminum profile, which you can see is powder coated here in white, but can be powder coated in any RAL color. One of the things that really makes these circular skylights unique, besides their geometry, and in this case, the enormous diameter at 86.5 inches, is this built-in insulated curb. You can see in the photo on the left, flashed, concealed by this black flashing, and then also in the section on the right, joining to the roof member. That curb is part of the skylight assembly. It delivers pre-assembled, so you can really just lift the skylight over the opening, fasten it in place through the foot flange at the base of that curb, and then insulate it and flash it directly into the roof. In this case, the builder chose not to over-insulate the curb, choosing just to run the flashing directly from the roof to the curb because there wasn't really exterior insulation being added on this application. But we would also recommend for a best practice install using the exterior insulation where it is available to conceal the flange and run that insulation into the side of the curb, which will give you a really strong, thermally continuous install that minimizes thermal bridging. This skylight, the FE Circular in general, is available with diameters as small as around 3 feet, or as I mentioned earlier, as large as about 7.5 feet, which we see here. And this unit in particular was featured over circular space, and at the center of that space is a large globe. So it sort of just adds to the overall aesthetic and the rounded nature of the space as it was designed.
Very cool project. Thank you, Jeremy. And last but not least, we have Aaron Walt, who is based in Wheatley, just outside of Windsor, Ontario. And big year for you, became a father, right? And somehow
Yeah,
managed to get involved
yeah,
in all these different ways as well.
yeah. The little guy's just over 4 months now. So becoming more and more animated by the day. But yeah, it was a really awesome year in Eastern Canada generally. Lots of cool projects, but there were two in particular that I wanted to talk about simply because there was a unique use of the materials and also they just both had a really great story behind them too. So number one being this FIFA project. So this year I had the privilege of working on a facility that's getting constructed for the FIFA World Cup in 2026. That's coming to Canada, Mexico, and the US. And it got me fired up for the World Cup in the summer. And it was just a really great opportunity to apply these high performance principles to a commercial project. So here it is as a rendered drawing. It's a beautiful practice facility that the national teams will effectively get to hang out at in between matches. So there's a practice pitch beside it. There's massage rooms, a conference room, I think a press conference room as well. And it's in Centennial Park, which is just outside of Toronto. And it was designed by Sherrying Architects, who specializes in designing sports facilities. So with this project in particular, I worked very closely with the architect on effectively developing an envelope strategy that would satisfy these four goals. So it needed to be LEED compliant, high performance, non-combustible, and also cost effective. So we had lots of emails back and forth talking about the plans, had lots of video conference calls and phone calls as well, just to figure out what would be the best fit. And ultimately, this is what we came up with. So you can see we're applying a lot of those passive house principles to this envelope. We've got that beautiful rain screen right on the very outside. We've also got that 150 millimeters of rock wool cavity rock, providing that nice fluffy sweater around the entire building. And then Adhero 3000 was chosen as the primary air control layer. And then following all that up with a bunch of other non-combustible materials that are commonly used in commercial construction. So you've got the Dens glass, gyprock sheathing, you've got 2x4 steel stud, Rockwool comfort bat, and Telox, and then a service cavity. So the GC did a fantastic job of installing all of these control layers. I don't know what the air tightness was yet, but I'm hoping to get it in a couple of weeks. And then just a quick zoom in on a couple other details on the envelope. So you can see they used Viscon for really quickly sealing up some of the pipe penetrations. And then these orange plates that you see attached to the Z-girts are thermally broken fiberglass clips. So again, another really cool use of applying those high performance principles to a more commercial project. So why was Solitex Adhero 3000 chosen on the project? Again, it came down to those four overarching goals that needed to be achieved with the envelope in general. So LEED compliant, Adhero 3000 is red list free. It's PHI A+ product. And as of this year, we've gotten EPDs for all of the Proclima products as well. It's a monolithic vapor open airtight membrane, suitable for non-combustible construction. And then finally, cost effective because it's really easy to install in these commercial applications. So a lot of other self-adhered membranes, you have to either apply a primer or a tape to the substrate before you actually put the membrane on. And for Adhero 3000, you don't have to do any of that. So you can just put the Adhero right on to that structural dense glass sheathing without primer. Sticks really well. And then also Adhero sticks really well to itself too. So you don't have to go around the building another time and wrap the entire building and tape all the seams with tape. So you get that double effect of saving on material because you don't have to buy any accessories and you only have to go around the building once and then it's installed. So why is FIFA requiring these high performance structures with the World Cup really only lasting a couple of weeks? And it has to do ultimately with the valiant efforts that FIFA as an organization is trying to instill within the World Cup to reduce the overall carbon footprint. So they're doing this in a very strategic way by applying some of these principles that we all know and love to their infrastructure. And if anybody's interested in reading more about that, that link below, I can send that to anybody. That's a 65 or 70 page report that talks about FIFA's green building guidelines. But essentially the Coles notes is to incorporate high performance building principles, use non-toxic building materials, prioritize good air quality, and then assess the whole building's life cycle. So with the World Cup lasting only a couple of weeks, what's next for this building? They're effectively going to be taking down some of these interior walls. And I had to ask the architect what bubble storage was. But I later found out that after the World Cup, bubble soccer is coming to Centennial Park in Toronto. So you have another reason to be pumped up. You know, it's not just the World Cup, it's going to be bubble soccer as well. And then project number 2 is pretty much just providing awareness to this organization that I've been working with for a long time. They're called Keepers of the Circle. And they are an Indigenous community based in the far north of Ontario. So Kirkland Lake, which is about 7 hours north of Toronto. And Kirkland Lake historically was very well known for its mining industry. And also oddly, a whole bunch of NHL hockey players came from Kirkland Lake in the 50s and 60s. So I imagine they probably all just got together on frozen lake for multiple winters, became really, really good, kept pushing each other. And yeah, they were on teams all over the NHL in the 50s and 60s. So it's a cool little read there. I first learned about Keepers of the Circle about a year ago at a conference up in Huntsville where they presented their overarching vision of building an Indigenous woman-led factory that designs and builds panelized homes that can last for 7 generations. So really great initiative. It was probably the best presentation that I've seen in a long time, just because there was also, you know, so much proof that they were working on it as well. So they were working very closely with Tooktree to help to train up members of the Keepers of the Circle team because, you know, everybody loves Tooktree's panels. They're great. And they're getting trained up on installing and making these panels because one day they're going to be building them and installing them themselves in this new state-of-the-art 24,000 square foot facility that they're building up there. So last time I visited in November, I got to take a look at the factory as it is, and this is where we're at right now. It was extremely motivating to just see the amount of pride that everybody had in this building and also just the momentum that everybody had too. So the people who are working with this, you know, you can tell that they're just driven to make a difference in their community and they just want to get building right away. So I'm really excited to continue working with them. And I'm also very excited for when they start building 30 to 100 homes a year, starting July 2026. So things are well underway. and I definitely have a look out for them. They're on social media. There's articles written about them now in CBC, and yeah, just I'm absolutely floored by all of the work that they've been doing.
Wow, great stuff. Thank you, team. Really appreciate everything. This has been a very inspiring group of projects and just like a really great sign of what's to come in 2026, I think. We get to work with so many inspirational projects all across the continent, really, but Canada is looking up in 2026 for sure. So, really appreciate everybody taking the time to reflect back on the last year and yeah, looking forward.